know that I come first. I'm the winner, winner, winner.
Hello. Oh, it's having a problem still. Look at that. Hang on, I think it's having a... It's having a spout problem, I think. Let's see. Default, please. There we go. That's one issue fixed. And let's see, am I having any problems with the filters? Doesn't look like I'm having too bad of a problem with the filters, but you guys can let me know if it's having anything with problems. Davy rubs up against me and hisses. Does that make me a good person? No. That means that he is just a weirdo. That's a weird cat person thing. So let me know if I'm actually I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. I'm seeing that there's like some weird level issues here. Can I fix that? Maybe a noise gate? Is the I think the noise gate fixed it automatically. I think. I'm trying to kind of make sure everything's working properly because I switched to OBS, like normal OBS instead of Streamlabs OBS. So I'm having to do some like technical stuff like on the bat, you know? Let's see. Is my okay, sound alert is down. Spout's fixed. Let me know if I'm too loud or too quiet. I did just put on some noise suppression and everything so I could fix you guys hearing my computer. I saw the levels. I put a noise gate on so that would stop the computer sounds from coming through it and be in and out a lot taking cat videos. Alright, no problem. Anyway, welcome you guys to ASMR Friday. Is there music? Yes, there is music. I'm guessing it's too quiet for you guys. Let me... Oh, it's muted right now. There we go. There. Is that too loud? Sometimes the OBS, this one is kind of confusing a little bit because sometimes it wants to just switch things on you. Let me know if the music is too loud before you get into doing the reading. The baby's play fighting. Well, yeah, they gotta, you know, learn their hunting skills. So I'm guessing the music's fine if Holy's not complaining. Hi, Excluded. Welcome in. Don't mind me. I'm doing some quick troubleshooting because I switched from Streamlabs to OBS. I think I put a pin up saying that. So if you hear, like, if I'm too loud versus the music, or if the music's way too quiet, you can let me know. I'm not gonna snap at you. Put headphones on so you can hear better. Yeah, you could probably hear the ear switches when you put the headphones on. Yeah. But, I'm just doing some quick fixes. I'm going through my stuff. Holy just said music wasn't on, and I saw that it was ticked off for some reason. Looks like sound alerts and hits is lowered like it should be. Thank you for the head pats. And it looks like my audio capture is also doing better now. Again, if the music is too quiet compared to my voice, let me know. Oh, hi Husky, maybe you can tell me, because Holy likes chaos and doesn't tell me sometimes. Do it. Tell me. Is it too loud? Hi hi. Y'all's good? Okay, so my voice versus the music is okay? Audio. Okay, good. I just did a quick, what was it that I just did? I did a quick noise gate because I saw that the levels were going off when I wasn't talking, which meaning it was picking up my fan. So I made sure that it's not doing that. I have water, tea, and coffee here. This is ASMR day. And so, we are going to be doing Warriors Book 2. Do I need to join VC for a direct audio? You can if you wish, but it's not going to do much in Discord. Discord's going to be the exact same, but it's when it goes to the OBS itself, I have to like adjust it in that. Discord has its own noise cancellation thing. Where Fish should be active. Why is Fish not active? Hang on. What? Fish is literally on right now. Hang on. If it does, if is that missing it? Hold on. Settings. Oh, it's not connected right now. I have to quick connect it. Okay, authenticated closed window. Okay, cool. There you go. Now it should be working. How is SE live on your end? Everything working out good? Well, I'm finding a few problems with it so far. Like when I go hit the go live button on Streamlabs, it gives me a post to Twitter option. I don't see that here, so I had to open up Streamlabs. I haven't deleted it yet, so I can get that automatic Twitter feed. And then I just closed out of that, and then I went live on this. We bug fixing? Yeah, we're bug fixing right now. It doesn't exist. I guess okay, hang on. Let me put that as a to-do list. Auto Twitter notif is also, I know that Red Twitch isn't going live when it should. So I'm just making some quick notes real quick. I put that on a little flashcard because I don't have any sticky notes right now. I ran out of sticky notes, so I'm just using flashcards. And set keys to auto do it. Won't go through SE OBS. Okay, so I'm assuming that would be through Mix It Up. Because I know that I can do Stream Deck stuff through Mix It Up. Yeah. It would probably be Mixed Up. But, okay. So, today is ASMR Day. I am trying OBS for this also, so hopefully it goes well. If anything happens or anything pops up, you guys can let me know. I do have that note there, so you guys know that that's happening, and you can feel free to tell me if something sounds off. But, other than that, we are going to be doing Warriors Book 2, which is Fire and Ice, chapters 21 through 25. Thank you for the lurk, Husky, and thank you for letting me know. Have fun. Oh, you're doing CZZ. Okay, have fun with that. That's gonna be chaotic. I've heard some things about it, especially about the Wolfman. So, in the previous chapters, I'm gonna do a quick run by here. There was a cliffhanger, and that's why I've been kind of waiting for today. Is the cliffhanger was about Princess giving Fireheart her kit. She has 5 kits, and she's giving one of them to her brother. I'm excited to see what will happen, what will unfold, what betrayal is going to happen, and what will happen in the current 5 chapters to see what will happen with this kit. This kit is not fully weaned. I do not know if she's giving it away immediately or if it's going to be a little bit of time, but it is also winter, so if they're giving it away immediately, I'm expecting some backlash because of it being winter. So I'm going to assume that it's not going to be very happy with this. The clan's not going to be very happy with this. I assume that the clan leader will be okay with it, since the clan leader believes in Fireheart to be the savior of the clan, I do believe. And I think that Tiger Claw is going to be the one mostly against it. And whatever Mother Cat gets a hold of the kit if it's going to be given away immediately. But we're gonna see. I've been waiting. I've been waiting a whole week for this because I posted on Twitter about it. Actually, I do not read ahead. I do not read ahead, and I have forgotten all 3 of the first books because it's been over a decade for me for reading it. It's been like, I think 13 years actually since I've read these series. So I'm kind of getting all this information the same as anyone else. I'm not reading ahead, I'm actually reading it on the spot. And that's actually the main reason why I have about 3 to 5 mess ups on the stream, is because I am doing that. I am reading on the spot, and I am learning everything with you. I try not to comment too much, input my own stuff, unless it's like the beginning or the end of stream. Or if I'm like trying to explain to someone that has just shown up and they need to like have a little bit of a grasp of what the book is about. Lechi, hi! Welcome in. Reading React content, yeah. Yeah. Mod Husky, yeah! Yeah, Husky mod now. I had him go through the modding thing so that my admin wouldn't yell at me, and he's been here pretty much every stream. And he also modded me on his. He doesn't really have an application thing, but I do. But I made him go through the application thing so I could have like the history in there. Show my admin. I'm the one that approves my mods. And my admin on Discord is the one that approves my Discord admin, like, bullshittery mods. But yeah, so Husky can do stuff. I haven't really given Husky a rundown yet, but he's also a content creator, so he kind of knows the base stuff, so I don't really have to too much. He's free to ask me, but that exists. Alright. Let me switch the microphone to this side so we can start. I was talking into the other ear this entire time, so I figure maybe switch the ears before we start here. Husky, watch me so I don't commit war crimes. Hey. Husky can now time you out for me. He can see that you redeem the baka. And if he's paying attention and not doing his own stream stuff, then he can do that. But currently he's going to be streaming today, so I'm not expecting him to moderate or anything. If he like randomly shows up, then he's like free to moderate. It's kind of like a chill understanding kind of thing, because I've been mostly moderating myself right now, and I've put in SiriBot to do that and ban bots for me. You're a distract Husky, don't worry. Okay, you guys, are you ready for this? We're gonna be starting on chapter 1. Chapter 21. It's gonna be chapter 21 through 25 today. And Lechi, I'm so sorry. You missed out last stream. I had made a Korean pop boy. I made the K-pop boy of your dreams, and you weren't there to look at it. I made it on Mecha Break. And you could ask Husky, I was screaming, "Where's the eyes? Where's the eye color?" the entire time while I was making it. Alright, let me open my tea real quick before I start, so I don't have to do it like in the middle and interrupt. The honey helps a lot. Alright, you guys, let's go. Chapter 21. Fireheart stared at the tiny kit. "I never expected," he began. He dragged his gaze away and stared wordlessly at his sister. "My housefolk will choose where the rest will live," Princess went on. "But this is my firstborn, and I want to decide his future." She raised her chin. "Make him a hero, please, like you." The unsettling sense of loneliness that had been dragging at Fireheart for so long began to ebb away. He pictured the white kit among the clan as he showed him the ways of the forest and hunted by his side through the thick ferns. At last, there would be another cat in ThunderClan who shared Fireheart's kitty pet roots. Princess tilted her head. I know how upset you were about your apprentice. I thought if you had a new apprentice, one who's your own kin, you wouldn't feel so lonely. She stretched her neck and rested her nose against Fireheart's side. I don't understand all your clan ways, but seeing you and hearing you talk about your life, I know I would be honored if my son was brought up as a clan cat. As the first flare of happiness settled inside him, Fireheart thought of the rest of his clan, and how desperately they needed fighting cats. Cinderpaw would never be a warrior now, and what if the Green Cough took more lives than just Blue Stars? ThunderClan might need this kit. He was suddenly aware of the rain clinging to his fur. The kit needed shelter, and soon. It looked strong, but it was still too small to withstand the cold and wet for long. I'll take him, he meowed. This is a great gift you've given to ThunderClan, and I'll train him to be the finest warrior the clan has ever seen. He dipped his head and scooped up the kit by his scruff. Princess's eyes shone with gratitude and pride. Thank you, Fireheart, he purred. Who knows, maybe he'll become a leader and be given 9 lives. Fireheart gazed fondly at her trusting, hopeful face. Did his sister really believe this might happen? Then a twinge of doubt pricked him. He was taking this tiny kit back to camp infected by Green Cough. What if he didn't even make it to New Leaf? The cozy scent of the kit under his muzzle soothed him. The kit would survive. It was strong, and it shared his blood. Fireheart took a deep breath. He must be quick. The kit was getting cold already. He blinked a farewell at Princess and raced away into the bushes. One second, I'm gonna... the OBS is kind of weird. I don't see the chat as much. I'm actually dragging the chat out right now so I can see it better. Oh, Discord? I guess it's a good thing I just paused. Hey yo. Silas Insane. Hey yo. That's a very interesting edit of them. They're buffing that. Super buff. Damn. Like super, super buff. Okay. The kit was heavier than he'd expected. It dangled from his mouth, bumping against his forelegs with faint protesting squeaks. By the time Fireheart reached the top of the ravine, his neck was aching. He made his way down to the camp, putting one paw carefully in front of the other, wary of slipping on the fast-melting snow. At the entrance, Fireheart hesitated. For the first time, he wondered how he would explain this kit to the clan. Lick it, ayo. He was going to have to admit to visiting his kitty pet sister. But it was too late now. He could feel the kit shivering. Fireheart squared his shoulders and padded through the gorse tunnel. The kit let out a deafening wail as a thorn tugged at its fur. Several pairs of eyes turned to look in amazement as Fireheart emerged into the clearing. Both hunting parties had returned. Mousefur, Whitestorm, Sandpaw, and Brackenpaw were all in the clearing. Only Graystripe was missing. One by one, the rest of the clan were drawn out by their dens by the noise and the unfamiliar scent. None of the cats made a sound. They stared at Fireheart with hostile, puzzled eyes, as though he were a stranger. Fireheart turned slowly in the center of the clearing, the kit still dangling from his mouth, and looked at the ring of questioning eyes. His mouth began to feel dry. Why had he assumed the clan would accept a kit that wasn't forced born? He felt a rush of relief when Bluestar emerged from Yellowfang's den. Her eyes widened in surprise as she saw him. "What is this?" she demanded. A tremor of foreboding ran along Fireheart's spine. He placed the kit between his front paws and wrapped his tail over it to keep it warm. "It's my sister's firstborn," he replied. "Your sister?" Tiger Claw glared at him accusingly. "You have a sister?" called Speckletail. "Where?" "Same place as Fireheart was born, of course," Longtail hissed with disgust. "Two Lake Place." "Is that true?" Bluestar asked, her eyes widening further. "Yes," Fireheart admitted. "My sister gave it to me to bring to the clan." "And why would she do that?" Bluestar asked with a menacing calm. Fireheart stammered nervously. I told her about clan life, how great it was. His voice trailed away under the Bluestar's incredulous gaze. "How long have you been visiting Two Lake Place?" "Not long. Just since Leaf Bear began. Only to see my sister. My loyalty still lies with ThunderClan." "Loyalty?" Graystripe's yowl rang out across the clearing. "And yet you bring a kitty pet here." "Isn't having one kitty pet in the clan enough?" croaked one of the elders. "Just a kitty pet to find another kitty pet," snarled Dustpaw, ruffling his fur indignantly. He turned to Sandpaw and nudged her with his nose. Sandpaw glanced uncomfortably at Fireheart, then looked down at her paws. "Why have you brought it here?" Tiger Claw growled. "We need warriors." Tiny Kit squirmed beneath his belly as he spoke, and Fireheart realized how ridiculous he must sound. He bowed his head as yowls of scorn met his words. When the insults had died away, Running Wind spoke up. "There's going to be an ad in 3 minutes, you guys. If you need to, please turn down the volume. Do not get yourself spooked. Thank you very much." Clan has enough to worry about already without this. "It'll be nothing but a burden," Mousefur agreed. "It'll be at least 5 moons before it's ready to begin training." Whitestorm nodded his head in agreement. "You shouldn't have brought this kitty pet here, Fireheart," he meowed. "It'll be too soft for clan life." Fireheart bristled. "I was born a kitty pet. Am I soft?" He thought that he'd begun to challenge the clan's prejudice against kitty pets. He was wrong. He didn't see one friendly face in the crowd. A voice sounded from behind Whitestorm. "It carries Fireheart's blood. It'll make a good clan cat." Fireheart felt relief surge through his body. It was Graystripe. A brief flame of hope flared in Fireheart's chest as Whitestorm stood aside and the other cats turned to look at the Grey Warrior. Graystripe stared around the circle of cats, meeting their gazes one by one with wide, steady eyes. "Makes a change to see you speak up for your friend, Graystripe. Last night you wanted to shred him," sneered Longtail. Graystripe glared at the pale Tabby and whipped around as Darkstripe challenged him. "Yeah, Graystripe. How do you know Fireheart has blood worthy of ThunderClan? Did you taste it last night when you tried to take a chunk out of his leg?" Bluestar stepped forwards, her blue eyes clouded with worry. Fireheart, I believe that you meant no disloyalty to the clan by visiting your sister. But why did you agree to bring her kit here? It's not your place to make decisions like this. What you have done affects the whole clan. Fireheart looked at Greystripe, hoping for more support, but Greystripe wouldn't meet his eyes. Fireheart craned his head around, and every cat turned their gaze away from him. Fireheart began to panic. Had he endangered his own position in the clan by bringing Princess's kit here? Bluestar spoke again. Tigerclaw, what do you think? What do I think? Meowed Tigerclaw. Fireheart felt his heart sink, the note of arrogant satisfaction in the deputy's voice. I think he should get rid of it at once. Goldenflower? It certainly looks too small to survive until New Leaf, the Ginger Queen remarked. It'll have green cough by sunrise, added Mouser. Or it'll eat our fresh kill until next snowfall and die of cold, spat Running Wind. Bluestar dipped her head. That's enough. I must think about this. She padded to her den and disappeared inside. The rest of the clan slipped away, muttering darkly. Fireheart picked up the bedraggled kit and carried him to the warrior's den. The kit was shivering and mewling pathetically. Fireheart curled his body around the little scrap and closed his eyes. But hostile faces of the clan swam around his mind, filling his heart with dread. He thought he had been lonely before, but now it seemed as if the entire clan had disowned him. Gonna take some sip of tea. Oh. Of course, as soon as I drink some tea, you throw that at me. You see how you are? I guess I'm drinking some more. Hello, Ghost. Welcome in. There, I drink more tea. Are you happy? Greystripe pushed his way into the den and settled down into his nest. Fireheart glanced nervously at him. Greystripe had been the only cat to speak in his defense, and Fireheart wanted to thank him. After an uncomfortable pause in which the kit cried and cried, Fireheart mumbled, "Thanks for sticking up for me." Greystripe shrugged. Yeah, well, he meowed. No one else was going to do it. He twisted his head around and began to wash his tail. The kit carried on mewling, his cries getting louder. Some of the other warriors padded into the den to escape the rain outside. Willowpelt glanced briefly at Fireheart and the kit, but she didn't speak. Can't you shut that thing up? Complained Darkstripe, as he prodded the moss on his nest. Fireheart licked the kit desperately. It must be very hungry by now. The rustle in the den wall made him lift his head. It was Frostfur. He crept over to Fireheart's nest and looked down at the miserable kit. Suddenly, she dipped her head and sniffed the kit's soft fur. Better be off in the nursery, she murmured. Brindleface has milk to spare. I could ask her to feed it. Fireheart stared at the queen in surprise. Frostfur gazed back at him, her eyes warm. I haven't forgotten that you rescued my kits from Shadow Clan. Fireheart picked up the kit yet again and followed Frostfur out the warrior's den. The rain was even heavier now. Together, they padded quickly to the nursery. Frostfur disappeared through its narrow entrance, and Fireheart squeezed in after her. He paused inside the thicket of brambles, blinking until his eyes got used to the dim light. Inside the dry, dark cocoon, Brindleface was curled around her two healthy kits. She looked suspiciously at Fireheart, then at the kit that dangled from his jaws. Prosper whispered to Fireheart, "One of Brindleface's kits died last night." Fireheart remembered the sick kit squirming beside Yellowfang and wondered with a pang. Which one had gone? He put Princess's kit down and turned to Brindleface. "I'm sorry," he murmured. The queen blinked at him, with grief raw in her eyes. "Brindleface," Phosphor began, "I can only guess how much pain you feel. But this kit is starving, and you have milk. Will you feed him?" Brindleface shook her head and shut her eyes tight, as if to deny Fireheart's presence in her den. Phosphor stretched her head forwards and pressed her muzzle gently against Brindleface's cheek. "I know he won't replace your son," she whispered, "but he needs your warmth and care." Fireheart waited anxiously. The kit's cries grew louder. It could smell Brindleface's milk and began to squirm blindly towards her soft belly. It nuzzled its way between Brindleface's other two kits. Brindleface looked down as it wriggled forwards, following her milk scent. He watched, without resisting, as he latched onto her belly and began to suckle. Fireheart ached with relief and gratitude as he saw Brindleface's eyes soften, and the white kitty pet began to purr, kneading her swollen stomach with tiny paws. Phosphor nodded. "Thank you, Brindleface. Can I tell Bluestar that you will take care of the kit?" "Yes," replied Brindleface quietly, not taking her eyes off the white kit. She nudged him closer to her belly with one hind paw. Fireheart purred and bent his head to nose her shoulder. "Thank you. I promise I'll bring you extra fresh kill every day." "I'll go and tell Bluestar," meowed Frostfur. Fireheart looked up at the White Queen, stirred by her kindness. "Thank you," he mewed. No kit deserves to starve, clan-born or not. Phosphor turned and pushed away out of the brambles. "You can go now," Brindleface murmured to Fireheart. "Your kit will be safe with me." Fireheart nodded and followed Frostfur out into the rain. He thought about returning to his den, but until he'd heard Bluestar's decision about the kit, he knew he would not settle. As he paced around the clearing, his fur matting into wet clumps, he saw Frostfur slip out of Bluestar's den and hurry back to the nursery. Willowpelt was preparing to lead evening patrol out of the camp, and Bluestar finally came out of her den. Fireheart stopped, his heart pounding so fast he thought his legs would give away under him. Bluestar leaped onto the high rock and began the familiar summons. Let all cats old enough to catch their own prey gather below High Rock. The patrol turned away from camp entrance and padded after Willowpelt, back towards the High Rock. The rest of the clan began to leave their dry nests, grumbling about the rain. Tigerclaw leaped up onto the rock beside Bluestar, his face grim. "You're going to make me take him back," thought Fireheart. His breath began to come in shallow gasps. "Oh, look at that, Siri bot caught a bot. Fuck you, bot. Get wrecked. Get out of here. No one needs you. Thank you." Darker thoughts pushed their way into Fireheart's mind. What if Bluestar asks Tigerclaw to abandon him in the forest? He'll never survive. Oh, StarClan, what am I going to say to Princess? When all the cats were settled, Bluestar spoke. "Cats of ThunderClan, no cat can deny we need warriors." We have lost one cat to green cough already, and there are many moons until New Leaf. Cinderpaw has been gravely injured, and she will never be a warrior, as Graystripe rightfully pointed out. Fireheart heard Dustpaw whispering nearby. Graystripe's turning into a kitty pet himself these days. He turned his head sharply, but a warning hiss from one of the elders silenced Dustpaw before Fireheart could say anything. As Graystripe pointed out, Bluestar repeated, "This kitty pet carries Fireheart's blood. There is every chance the kit will make a fine warrior." Some of the clan glanced at Fireheart, who had been barely able to hear Bluestar's compliment. Hope was surging in his chest, making him dizzy. Bluestar paused for a moment to survey the cat in front of her. "I have decided we will take this kit into the clan," he declared. No cat made a sound. Fireheart wanted to yowl his thanks to StarClan, but he held his tongue. He took his first deep breath since Sunhigh. His own kin is going to be a part of ThunderClan. Brindleface has offered to nurse it, Bluestar went on, for Fireheart to take on the duty of providing for her. The clan leader met Fireheart's eyes, but he couldn't read her expression. Finally, the kit should have a name. It shall be known as Cloud Kit. Will there be a naming ceremony? Mouseford called from the crowd. Fireheart looked eagerly up at the high rock. Would his sister's kit be granted this privilege, as he had been when the clan had formally accepted him? Bluestar looked down at Mousefur, her eyes cold. "No," she answered. That was the end of chapter 21. We're going to go ahead and move on to chapter 22. Chapter 22. Days leading up to the next full moon dragged slowly for Fireheart. It already seemed ages since the last gathering. Rain clouds had kept the moon covered the last time the clans had stayed away from 4 trees. Meanwhile, patrol after patrol reported scenting RiverClan warriors at Sunning Rocks, and ShadowClan scent had been discovered again by Owl Tree. When he wasn't hunting or patrolling, Fireheart divided his time between Cloudkit, Cinderpaw, and Brackenpaw. Even though Graystripe had resumed his role as Brackenpaw's mentor, Fireheart soon began to notice the young apprentice at a loose end from time to time. His mentor nowhere in sight. Hunting was all Brackenpaw would say when Fireheart asked where Graystripe had gone. "Why didn't you go with him?" meowed Fireheart. "He said I could go tomorrow." Fireheart felt the usual prickle of anger at Graystripe's stubbornness, but he shrugged it away. He'd given up trying to make Graystripe see sense. They'd hardly spoken since Fireheart had brought up Cloudkit into the camp, but he made an effort to take Brackenpaw out whenever Graystripe went missing, just to keep their apprentice out of sight. Fireheart knew that Tigerclaw wouldn't accept Brackenpaw's answers so easily. Finally, the full moon appeared in the cloudless sky. Fireheart came back from hunting early. He passed the fallen oak, deserted now that Swiftpaw and Speckletail's kit had recovered. He dropped his catch in a pile and headed towards Yellowfang's den to visit Cinderpaw. Even the threat of Greencough had left the camp for now. Only Cinderpaw remained with the medicine cat. As Fireheart padded through the tunnel, you could see the small, gray she-cat in the clearing ahead. She was helping Yellowfang prepare some herbs. Fireheart winced as he watched Cinderpaw limp heavily towards the split rock with a mouthful of dried leaves. Fireheart! Cinderpaw spat out. The herbs turned to greet him as he emerged from the tunnel. It only just sent you through these disgusting things. Those disgusting things helped cure your leg, growled Yellowfang. Well, should have used more, retorted Cinderpaw. But Fireheart was relieved to see she had a mischievous glint in her eye. Look at this. She twitched her twisted hind leg. I can hardly reach my claws to wash them. Perhaps I should give you a few more exercises to loosen it up, meowed Yellowfang. Oh, thanks, meowed Cinderpaw quickly. They hurt. They're meant to hurt. It shows they're working. Old Medicine Cat turned to Fireheart. Perhaps you'll have more luck persuading her to do them. I'm going into the forest to dig up some comfrey roots. I'll try, Fireheart promised as Yellowfang padded past him. You'll know if she's doing them right, the Medicine Cat called over her shoulder. As she'll complain. Cinderpaw limped over to Fireheart and touched her nose to his. Thanks for coming to see me. She sat down and grimaced as she tucked her bad leg under her. I like coming to see you, Fireheart purred. I miss our old training sessions. He regretted his words as soon as he uttered them. A wistful look clouded Cinderpaw's eyes. Me too, he meowed. When do you think I'll be able to start again? Fireheart stared at her, his heart sinking. Clearly, Yellowfang hadn't told her yet that she'd never be a warrior. Perhaps if you try some more of your exercises, it'll help, he meowed evasively. Okay, mewed Cinderpaw, but just a few. She lay on her side and stretched out her leg till her face was twisted with pain. Slowly, her teeth clenched. She began to move it backwards and forwards. You're doing really well, Fireheart meowed, fighting the sorrow that lay like a rock in his stomach. Cinderpaw let her leg drop and lay still for a moment. Then she pushed herself up. Fireheart watched her quietly as she shook her head. I'm never going to be a warrior, am I? Fireheart couldn't lie to her. No, he whispered. I'm so sorry. He stretched his muzzle towards her and licked her forehead. After a few moments, he gave a long sigh and lay down again. I knew it really, she mewed. It's just that sometimes I dream about being in the forest, hunting with Brackenpaw. Then I wake up, and the pain in my leg reminds me I'll never hunt again. It feels too much to bear. I have to pretend that maybe, one day, I'll be able to hunt. Fireheart couldn't bear to see her in such low spirits. I'll take you out into the forest again, he promised. We'll find the oldest, lowest mouse in the woods. He won't stand a chance against you. What? Huh? You did what? Hold up. Pause. What did you just do to Holly? What? Huh? That's not a timeout. What? The fuck? The fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? What? Husky? Why would you do that? That was a fucking ban. The fuck? I'm sorry, you guys. I saw that pop up in the chat, and I'm like, hold up, pause. I was like I'm doing the fucking T in the air right now. You guys can't see it, but hold the fuck up, time out. What the fuck are you doing, Husky? Can Husky even hear me? Husky, why did you ban Holy? I just had to unban Holy. What the fuck? Confusion? Hold up. I'm gonna screenshot this for you, Holy. Let me screenshot this for you. Huh? Huh? Let me post that into Discord for you. Like, what the fuck? Huh? He thought stream died for a second. Yeah. No. Look at your DMs. Look at your DMs. That's what happened. Excuse me? What? Husky? What? The fuck are you doing? Hold up. I bet he's streaming right now. Yeah, he's streaming right now. I'm gonna... Hold on. Okay, we're... What the fuck you doing?
But that's a hollow down there.
You guys are gonna hear him now. I'm sorry. I want to hear his response.
What am I doing?
I was wondering why I said NVC with my
I didn't ban Holy. What the fuck? I didn't touch Holy. I genuinely didn't. What the fuck is going on? I didn't touch Holy.
I didn't touch Holy.
Why the fuck did it say I touched Holy? I see it. I know. I genuinely see it. Why the fuck?
That's interesting.
Okay, no. Keep in mind, I'm a Twitch mod for Mabu.
Like, what the fuck
It says
happened?
I'm banned Holy.
He's
I
just
didn't
as
touch
confused.
Holy. What the
He's
fuck?
confused as I am. He's as confused as I am. That is so funny. Then touch mod, bro. I don't know what happened. But like randomly, you just banned Holy. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Don't tell. Wait. Don't tell me that someone got access to your account. Don't tell me someone. Hang on. Where are you? Hang on. Pause, you guys. Pause. I gotta go over here. Guys. What the fuck? I am pausing my fucking book for this. Bro, what the fuck happened? Even Holy's like, yeah, I blacked out for a second. I couldn't see stream. I'm like, yeah, what the fuck's happening? Does someone have access to your account? I suggest maybe changing your password and logging out at some point. That was interesting. Oh, now Holy wants to be timed out. Fucking Holy. Fine, Holy. I'm gonna give Holy 50 seconds. Oh. Yeah, that was interesting to say the least. They can't hear you right now, by the way. But yeah, I suggest checking your stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to doing what I was doing. I was just I was honestly like, hold the fuck up, time out, air time out. What are you doing? Alright, bye. Okay, you guys, Holy doesn't know what happened there either. That was interesting. But I did just tell I did just tell Husky. I did tell Husky to maybe check his stuff. But yeah, we're gonna we're gonna ignore what just happened and we're gonna move on with the book, okay? That was interesting. I'm glad I caught that. That was weird. Alright, you guys, let's continue. I knew it really, she mewed. Oh? Oh, thank you for the follow. I'm sorry about the chaos that just happened. Just had a very interesting thing and I had to go into the Discord of my streamer buddy because I had him go through the process of becoming a mod for me on here. And for some reason, it automatically used his account to ban one of my main followers, and I had to get that fixed. I had to tell him that maybe something's up with his account. Also, if you are new here, please remember that only ASMR is on Fridays. If you catch me any other day, it is going to be pretty dang chaotic. You'll have a lot more moments like what just happened on those days. So just Fridays are my ASMR days. Thank you. I knew it really, she mewed. It's just that sometimes I dream about being in the forest, hunting with Brackenpaw. And then I wake up and the pain in my leg reminds me I'll never hunt again. It feels too much to bear. I have to pretend that maybe, one day, I'll be able to hunt. My heart couldn't bear to see her in such low spirits. I'll take you out into the forest again, he promised. We'll find the oldest, slowest mouse in the woods. It won't stand a chance against you. Cinderpaw looked at him and purred gratefully. Fireheart purred back at her, but there was a question that had been nagging at him since the accident. Cinderpaw, he began. Can you remember what happened when the monster hit you? Was Tiger Claw there? Cinderpaw's eyes clouded with confusion. I don't know, he stammered. Fireheart felt a pang of guilt as he saw her flinch away from the memory. I went straight to the burned ash where Dustpaw said Tiger Claw would be. And then there was a monster, and I don't really remember. You wouldn't have realized how thin the verge was there. Fireheart shook his head slowly. You must have run straight onto the thunder path. Why wasn't Tiger Claw where he said he'd be? Thought with a flash of rage. He could have stopped her from running out. Princess's words rang ominously in his head. Was it a trap? He pictured Tiger Claw, crouching downwind, hidden among the trees, staring out at the verge, waiting. How's Cloud Kit? Cinderpaw's mew cut short his thoughts. He clearly wanted to change the subject. Fireheart was happy to oblige, especially if it meant talking about Princess's son. Getting bigger every day, he meowed proudly. I'm dying to meet him. When are you going to bring him to visit me? As soon as Brindleface lets me, Fireheart answered. You won't let him out of her sight at the moment. He likes him then? She treats him just like her other kids. Fireheart meowed. Thanks, Starglan. Be honest, I wasn't sure if she'd take to him. He looks so different from the other kids. Even Fireheart couldn't deny that Cloud, its soft, snowy pelt, looked out of place beside the other kits. With their frost-colored coats of short, mottled fur, at least he gets on well with his nursery mates. Fireheart's voice trailed away. He stared at the ground, feeling a twinge of anxiety. What's the matter? Cinderpaw prompted gently. Fireheart shrugged. I'm just sick of the way some of the other cats look at him. Like he's stupid or worthless. Does Cloudkit notice these looks? Fireheart shook his head. Well, don't worry then. Cinderpaw mewed. But Cloudkit doesn't even know he was born a kitty pet. I think he just assumes he's from a different clan. But if they kept giving him these dirty looks, he's going to realize there's something wrong with him. Fireheart looked at his paws fretfully. Something wrong with him? Echoed Cinderpaw in wonder. You were born a kitty pet, and there's nothing wrong with you. Look, by the time Cloudkit works out where he comes from, he'll be able to start providing and showing that a kitty pet can be as good as any clan-born warrior, just like you've done. What if someone tells him before he's ready? If he's anything like you, he was born ready. When did you get so smart? Fireheart meowed, rather surprised by his apprentice's sharpness. Cinderpaw rolled on her back with a dramatic moan. Suffering can do that to a cat. Fireheart prodded her stomach with a paw, and Cinderpaw squeaked before scrambling back onto her side. No, really, he mewed. Look who I've been hanging out with lately. I'm sorry I didn't warn you guys before that ad break. I think I was still kind of caught up with what happened with Holy. I'll make sure to warn you guys before the next one. Fireheart tipped his head to one side questioningly. Yellowfang, you dope, Cinderpaw scoffed. He's one sharp old cat. I'm learning a lot. He sat up. Yellowfang said there's a gathering tonight. Are you going? I don't know, Fireheart admitted. I'm going to ask Bluestar later. I'm not exactly popular with the clan at the moment. I'll get over it, Cinderpaw promised. He nudged his shoulder. Shouldn't you go and find out if you're going, then? They'll be leaving soon. Build stream and redid passwords. Hopefully that shit won't happen again. No problem. I hope that whatever happened wasn't someone that got into your account. Hopefully it was like just a random button. I suggest also checking your buttons to make sure like you don't have anything preset to do that. But thanks for checking in with me. And also for, you know, apologizing to Holy. I was like, what the fuck happened? Running stacked two-factor, yeah. I have a two-factor as well, but like, that's interesting that that happened. I was very confused. You're right, Fireheart replied. Will you be okay until Yellowfang gets back? You want me to fetch you some fresh kill? I'll be fine, Cinderpaw assured him. And Yellowfang will bring me back something. He always does. I'm going to be the fattest cat in the clan by the time she's finished with me. Fireheart felt a burst of happiness to see his former apprentice recovering her spirit. He was tempted to stay and keep her company, but she was right. You should find out if you could go to the gathering. I'll see you tomorrow, then, he meowed. There should be plenty of news from the gathering. Yeah, and I want to hear it all, Cinderpaw mewed. Make sure Bluestar lets you go. I'm going, Fireheart retorted, getting to his paws. Bye, Cinderella. Bye. Fireheart stopped at the edge of the clearing and looked around for Bluestar. She was talking with Willowpelt outside her den. Fireheart reached them just as Willowpelt stood up to leave. The slender gray warrior nodded to Fireheart as she padded away. Bluestar gazed at Fireheart with knowing eyes. You want to go to the gathering, he meowed. Fireheart opened his mouth to speak. Bluestar interrupted him. All the warriors want to go tonight. I can't take every cat. Fireheart felt disappointed. I wanted to see WindClan again, he explained. Find out how they've been doing and getting on since Graystripe and I brought them home. Bluestar narrowed her eyes. I don't need reminding of what you did for WindClan. She meowed sharply, and Fireheart flinched. But you're right to be concerned, Bluestar went on. You and Graystripe may come to the gathering tonight. Thank you, Bluestar, Fireheart meowed. It'll be an interesting gathering, Bluestar warned him. RiverClan and ShadowClan have much to explain. Fireheart felt his ears twitch nervously. He couldn't help feeling a thrill of excitement as well. Bluestar clearly meant to challenge Cricketstar and Nightstar about their invasions into ThunderClan territory. He dipped his head respectfully to Bluestar and patted away. As he collected 2 rolls for Brindleface from a pile of fresh kill, Fireheart noticed Yellowfang trudging into the camp. Her paws were muddy and her mouth was crammed with fat, knobbly roots. Her search for Comfrey had clearly been successful. It wasn't me. I gave you a screenshot, damn. I wouldn't ban you, Holy. I mean, I'd time you out, but I wouldn't ban you. You're kind of like my most loyal follower at the moment. That would be kind of super dumb of me. Fireheart carried the fresh kill over to the nursery. Brindleface was curled up inside feeding Cloudkit. The other kits had recently given up their mother's milk, and soon Cloudkit too would have his first taste of fresh kill. Brindleface looked up as he entered. Her eyes shadowed with concern. I've just sent for Yellowfang, she mewed. Fireheart was instantly alarmed. Is there something wrong with Cloudkit? He's been a little feverish today. Brindleface leaned down and licked the kit's head as if he stopped feeding and began squirming restlessly. It's probably nothing. I thought I'd see what Yellowfang thought. I don't want to take any chances. Fireheart remembered that the Dappled Queen had recently lost a kit, and he hoped she was just being overcautious. But Cloudkit did look uncomfortable. I'll come and see you after the gathering, he promised. He ducked out of the nursery and headed back to the pile of fresh kill to pick out his own food. Brindleface's news had spoiled his appetite. He knew he should eat something before the journey to Four Trees tonight. Longtail and Dustpaw were already standing over the pile. Fireheart sat down and waited for them to leave. Haven't seen the Cloud Chick today, meowed Longtail. Fireheart felt a familiar ripple of frustration at the snide comment. He's probably realized how silly he looks and decided to hide in the nursery, mewed Dustpaw. I'd like to be there when he tries hunting for the first time. The prey will spot him coming a tree's length away with all that white fluff. Longtail sneered. unless they mistake him for a puffball mushroom. Dustpaw's whiskers twitched as he threw a sideways glance at Fireheart. Fireheart flattened his ears and looked away. He watched Yellowfang hurry into the nursery with a mouthful of feverfew. Unfortunately, Longtail and Dustpaw noticed too. Looks like the kitty pet's caught a chill. What a surprise, meowed Longtail. Goldenflower was right. He won't last through Leaf Bear. Tabby Warrior turned and stared at Fireheart, waiting for a reaction. But Fireheart ignored him and walked over to the pile of fresh kill. He chose a thrush and carried it away to eat, feeling drained by the endless spite. Graystripe was sharing his meal with Running Wind by the nettle clump. Hi, did you have a good hunt? Running Wind called as Fireheart passed. Yes, thanks, Fireheart replied. Graystripe didn't look up. Bluestar said you could go to the gathering, Fireheart told Graystripe. I know, Graystripe answered, still chewing. Are you going? Fireheart turned to Running Wind. You bet. I wouldn't miss this one for anything. Fireheart padded on and found a quiet spot at the edge of the clearing. Longtail's words echoed in his head. Would the clan ever accept the little white kit? Fireheart closed his eyes and began to wash himself. As he turned to lick his side, his whiskers brushed against something. He opened his eyes to find Sandpaw standing beside him. Her orange pelt glowed silver beneath the rising moon. Thought you might like some company, she mewed. We sat down and began to wash Fireheart's back with long, soothing strokes. I hope so. I see that your stream's back up. Sorry to interrupt your stream too. But hopefully that saves you from any trouble if there was some. Through half-closed eyes, Fireheart caught a glimpse of Dustpaw staring from outside the apprentice's den. Unable to disguise his envy and amazement, Dustpaw wasn't the only one surprised by Sandpaw's gesture. Fireheart hadn't expected such friendliness from the fiery young she-cat. But her warmth was welcome, and he wasn't going to question it. Are you going to the gathering? He asked. Sandpaw yet paused. Yes. You? Yes, I think Bluestar's going to challenge Cricketstar and Nightstar about their hunting. He waited for Sandpaw to reply, but she was staring up at the darkening sky. I wish I were going as a warrior, he murmured. Fireheart tensed, but for once there was no hint of jealousy or bitterness in her mew. Fireheart felt awkward. He knew his training had started after Sandpaw's, and he had been a warrior for more than 2 moons already. It can't be long till Bluestar gives you your warrior name, he meowed, trying to sound encouraging. Why do you think it's taking so long? Sandpaw asked, turning her pale green eyes on Fireheart. I don't know, he admitted. Bluestar's been ill, and there's RiverClan and ShadowClan causing trouble. I guess she's got other things on her mind. You'd think she'd need warriors more than ever, meowed Sandpaw. Fireheart felt a stab of sympathy. I suppose she's just waiting for the right time. He knew it didn't sound very helpful, but it was all he could think of saying. Maybe by New Leaf, Sandpaw sighed. When do you think you'll get a new apprentice? Bluestar hasn't said anything yet. Perhaps she'd give you Cloudkit when he's old enough. I hope so. Fireheart stared across the clearing at the nursery, wondering if Yellowfang had finished treating Cloudkit, if he makes it that far. Of course he'll make it, Sandpaw meowed confidently. But he has a fever. Fireheart let his shoulders sag with worry. All kids get fevers, Sandpaw retorted. With his thick fur, he'll recover in no time. Oh, hi, Red. Welcome in. That coat's going to be handy in Leaf Bear. Perfect for hunting in the snow. The prey will never see him coming, and he'll be able to stay out twice as long as thin pelts like Longtail. Fireheart purred and felt himself relax. Sandpaw had lifted his spirits again. He stood up and gave her a brisk lick on the head. Come on, he meowed. Blue Star is calling the cats for the gathering. They joined the other cats beside the camp entrance, a silent, purposeful group. Blue Star signaled to them with a flick of her tail, and led them through the gorse tunnel and out of the ravine. The forest glistened in the cold moonlight as they sprinted towards 4 trees. Clouds of breath billowed from Fireheart's muzzle, and the forest floor felt frozen beneath his paws. For the first time since Fireheart had joined the clan, Blue Star didn't hesitate at the ridge above 4 trees to prepare herself for the meeting. Instead, the cats followed their leader wordlessly as she plunged straight down the slope into the clearing. That was the end of chapter 22. We still have 3 chapters to go for this stream. Chapter 23. River Clan and Shadow Clan had not yet arrived, but Wind Clan was already there. Tallstar greeted Blue Star with a respectful nod. Fireheart spotted One Whisker and bounded over to meet him. Hi, he meowed. It had been over 2 moons since he'd last seen the small brown tabby warrior who had battled beside him at the gorge. For the first time in ages, Fireheart recalled Whiteclaw's death and felt familiar bristle of horror as he pictured the River Clan warrior disappearing beneath the rushing water. Where's Graystripe? One Whisker asked. Is he okay? Fireheart could see from concern in his eyes that the Wind Clan warrior was thinking about Whiteclaw's death. He's fine, Fireheart answered. He's over there with the others. Fireheart remembered the Wind Clan queen, whose kit he'd helped carry. How's Morning Flower? Happy to be home, replied One Whisker. Her kit is growing quickly now. Fireheart purred with pleasure. The whole clan is as well, One Whisker added. He glanced at Fireheart with an amused gleam in his eyes. Great to eat rabbit again. I hope I never have to taste another rat as long as I live. Fireheart detected a fresh scent on the night air. River Clan was coming. He could smell Shadow Clan, too. He scanned the ridge that ran around the edge of the hollow. Sure enough, River Clan cats were streaming down one side. On the opposite ridge, Fireheart saw Shadow Clan cats poised at the top, their coats gleaming in the moonlight. The lean figure of Nightstar stood at the head of the group. At last, growled One Whisker. He'd spotted them as well. It's too cold to be hanging around tonight. Fireheart nodded absently. He was searching the crowd of River Clan cats as they entered the clearing, looking for Silverstream. He recognized the pale gray she-cat easily. He skidded to a halt at the bottom of the slope and followed her father as he exchanged reserved greetings with the warriors from other clans. Nervously, Fireheart scanned the growing throng of cats for Graystripe. Would he dare speak to Silverstream tonight? The Grey Warrior had his back to Silverstream while he talked with a Wind Clan warrior. Fireheart was watching Graystripe closely but he didn't hear Deadfoot approach. "Good evening, Fireheart," meowed the Wind Clan deputy. "How are you?" Fireheart turned. "Hello," he meowed. "I'm fine, thank you." Deadfoot nodded. "Good," he meowed, and limped away. One Whisker gave Fireheart a friendly nudge. "You're privileged." Fireheart felt a small glimmer of pride. Bluestar's yowl sounded from the great rock. Fireheart turned and looked up, surprised. The leaders didn't usually call the meeting so soon. Crooked Star and Night Star were standing close together on the rock. Bluestar waited beside Tall Star, for the cats to gather beneath them. It was the first time Fireheart had seen the Wind Clan leader at a gathering, he realized with a jolt. Fireheart and One Whisker followed the other cats as they settled themselves beneath the rock. Fireheart looked up expectantly, waiting for Bluestar to welcome Tall Star and Wind Clan back. But the Thunder Clan leader was clearly in no mood to waste time on friendly words. "River Clan has been hunting at Sunning Rocks," she began angrily. "Our patrols have scented your warriors many times, Crooked Star." Sunning Rocks belongs to Thunder Clan. Crooked Star met Bluestar's gaze steadily. "Have you forgotten how recently one of our warriors was killed defending our territory from Thunder Clan?" Thank you for the follow. So I only do ASMR on Fridays. If you show up on any other stream day, it's going to be super chaotic. I'm just pre-warning you now. We are currently reading Warriors, Fire and Ice, which is the second book of the Cat series. "You had no need to defend your territory," Bluestar answered. "My warriors were not hunting there. They were returning home after finding Wind Clan. It was a mission we all agreed on. According to the warrior code, they should not have been attacked." "You speak of the warrior code," Bat Crooked Star. "What about the Thunder Clan warrior who has been spying on our territory since then?" Bluestar was caught off guard. "Warrior?" she echoed. "Have you seen him?" "Not yet," Crooked Star hissed. "But we find his scent so often, it won't be long before we do." Fireheart glanced at Graystripe in alarm. He only knew too well which warrior had been detected in Crooked Star's territory. Would any of the River Clan warriors recognize his scent tonight? Graystripe sat motionless, not taking his eyes off the leaders on the great rock. Tiger Claw's deep growl sounded from the crowd. "We have scented Shadow Clan in our territory as well as River Clan this past moon. And not just one warrior, but a whole patrol, always the same cats." The Shadow Clan leader's eyes flashed indignantly. "Shadow Clan has not been in your territory. Clearly, your warriors can't tell the difference in the scents of cats outside their own clan. They have been smelling the scent of rogue cats. They have been stealing prey from our territory as well." Tiger Claw snorted in disbelief, and Night Star glared down at him. "You doubt the word of Shadow Clan, Tiger Claw?" The crowd murmured uncomfortably as Tiger Claw stared back at Nightpelt with unconcealed distrust. For the first time, All-Star spoke, his tail twitching uncertainly. "My warriors have also found strange scents in Wind Clan territory. They seem to be Shadow Clan." "I knew it," Tiger Claw snarled. "River Clan and Shadow Clan have united against us." "Us? You mean us," spat Crooked Star. "I think it's you and Wind Clan that have formed an alliance. Is that why you're so keen to bring them back? They can use them to invade the rest of the forest?" All-Star's fur bristled. That's not why we returned, and you know it. We have kept to our own hunting grounds these past moons. And why have we found strange warrior scents in our territory? Crooked Star growled. They don't belong to Wind Clan, hissed Tall Star. They must be the rogue cats, as Night Star says. The rogue cats would be a convenient excuse in raiding our territories, would they not? Blue Star murmured. He stared dangerously at the River Clan and Shadow Clan leaders. Crooked Star raised his hackles, and Night Star arched his back. With a flash of alarm, Fireheart saw Tiger Claw stand up and stalk towards the Great Rock. Every muscle tensed. Would the leaders really fight at a gathering? At that moment, a shadow fell over the valley. The cats fell silent as they were plunged into blackness. Fireheart looked up, trembling. The cloud had covered the full moon, completely blocking out its light. StarClan has sent the darkness. Fireheart recognized the meow of Halftail, the ThunderClan elder. ShadowClan Medicine Cat yelled in agreement. StarClan is angry. These meetings are meant to be held in peace. Redding Nose is right. With Yellowfang. We shouldn't be fighting among ourselves, especially during Leaf Bear. We should be worrying about keeping our clans safe. Her voice echoed in the frightening silence. You must listen, StarClan. That was the end of chapter 23. I think that's the shortest chapter I've read in this book so far. Chapter 24. All-Star spoke up, a dim silhouette on top of the Great Rock. This gathering is over by the will of StarClan. The crowd murmured in agreement. The air was thick with the sense of fear and hostility. ThunderClan. Fireheart could barely see Blue Star as she leaped down from the Great Rock and headed for the ridge, the clearing. He pushed his way through the other cats and hurried after her. He saw the massive outline of Tiger Claw as the deputy fell in step beside his leader, and the pale gray shapes of the other ThunderClan cats as they gathered behind the two great warriors. No cat spoke as they trekked solemnly up the slope towards home. Fireheart glanced over his shoulder. The other clans were withdrawing too. By the time he reached the top of the slope, Trees was deserted. The clan ran silently through the forest, following the familiar scented trail line. Fireheart spotted Graystripe at the back, and he slowed his pace. Maybe Graystripe would be more prepared to talk about Silverstream, now that it was clear how tense things were between the clans. The scent had been detected in RiverClan territory. Graystripe was putting himself and the clan in danger with his secret meetings. Fireheart searched for the right words, but Graystripe hissed first. I know what you're going to say, and I won't stop seeing her. You're a mouse-brained fool, Fireheart spat back. They'll soon work out it's you. Blue Star will guess, or some cat from RiverClan will recognize your scent. Tiger Claws probably guessed already. Graystripe shot Fireheart an anxious glance. You really think so? I don't know, Fireheart admitted, relieved to hear a note of fear in Graystripe's voice. Graystripe had been acting as if he had no idea what might happen if Clan found out about his affair. There's going to be an ad in about a minute and a half. So if you have not already, please turn down your volume so you're not spooked. Thank you. Once he starts thinking about it, okay, spat Graystripe. He was silent for a moment. What if I promise we'll meet only at 4 trees? That way, our scent will be hard to detect, and I won't have to go into Riverglen territory. Will you leave me alone then? Fireheart felt his heart sink. Graystripe was not going to give up on Silverstream that easily. Then he nodded. This had better be better than creeping into hostile clan territory to see her. Satisfied? Graystripe's eyes flashed in the gloom. His voice sounded shaky. Fireheart felt a pang of regret for their lost friendship, and a rush of sympathy for the Grey Warrior. He stretched his head forwards and nuzzled Graystripe's flank. But Graystripe ran on ahead, leaving Fireheart alone at the back of the group. Even though the cats were tired from the journey, Bluestar called a meeting as soon as they were home. Most of the clan was still awake anyway. The gathering had been shorter than usual, and the sudden cloud cover had alarmed even the cats left in camp. So since the ads have started, I'm going to take a quick break since I haven't yet this stream. I'm gonna get up and stretch, drink some tea and all that. I'll be right back. I'm back. I went ahead and got up and then turned on a light in my kitchen since it's pretty dark. And I drank some tea. So I got up and stretched, drank some tea. We're good to go for a little bit. So let's go ahead and continue where I left off. While Bluestar and Tigerclaw settled themselves on High Rock, Fireheart hurried over to the nursery. He wanted to know how Cloudkit was. He poked his head through the entrance. It was pitch black and warm inside. Hello, Fireheart, Brindleface whispered, a faint shadow shifting in the gloom. Proud Kid's much better. Yellowfang gave him few. It was just as chill. The Queen sounded relieved. What happened at the gathering? Darkland sent clouds to cover the moon. Blue Stars called a meeting. Can you come? Fireheart listened to Brindleface sniffing her kits. Yes, I think I can, she answered finally. My kits will sleep for a while. Fireheart withdrew his head, and together they joined the cats gathered in the clearing. Fireheart felt fur brush against him, and Cinderpaw glanced up at him with wide, worried eyes. Bluestar had already begun. The greatest threat seems to be from RiverClan and ShadowClan. We must be prepared for the possibility that these two clans have united against us. Shocked meows rippled through the clan. You really think they've joined together? Yellowfang rasped. Every clan has the best sources to say, but I can't imagine they'd want to share with ShadowClan. Fireheart remembered Silverstream's words about RiverClan's hunger after the Two Lake invasion, but he held his tongue, fearful that Bluestar would want to know where he'd heard such a story. They didn't deny it, Tigerclaw pointed out. Bluestar nodded. Whatever the truth, we must be on full alert. From tonight, each patrol will have 4 cats. At least 3 of them warriors. The patrols will be more frequent, 2 each night. And 1 during the day, as well as the dawn and dusk patrols. We must put a stop to RiverClan's and ShadowClan's raids in our territory. And since they have chosen to ignore our words, we must be prepared to fight. Clan yelled their agreement. Fireheart joined in, even though he was worried about what this open hostility might mean for Graystripe. He looked around at the other cats. He could see all their eyes shining, except Graystripe's. The Grey Warrior sat with his head bowed in the shadows at the edge of the clearing. When the noise died away, Bluestar spoke again. The first patrol will leave before dawn. He jumped down from the high rock. Tigerclaw followed, and the rest of the clan broke up into small groups. Fireheart could hear them murmuring nervously as he padded to the warrior's den. Fireheart settled into his nest, kneading the moss with his paws to make it comfortable. An owl hooted at the top of the ravine. He knew he would not sleep yet. His mind was racing with the accusations that had flown around the gathering. He understood RiverClan's anger. They had picked up the scent of ThunderClan cats in their territory, and they were hungry now that their prey had been depleted by Two Lake invasion. What about ShadowClan? They were smaller since ThunderClan had helped them to chase out their tyrannical former leader and his band of followers. Broken Star had even admitted to killing Ragged Star, his own father, become clan leader. The clan had left in peace to recover from Broken Star's bloody rule. And Fireheart couldn't help thinking that, with fewer mouths to feed, ShadowClan had no need to raid ThunderClan's hunting grounds or anyone else's. As he puzzled over these thoughts, Whitestorm and Darkstripe pushed their way into the den. Before Whitestorm went to his nest, he stopped beside Fireheart. You're to join me with Sandpaw and Mousefur on patrol at Sunhigh, he meowed. Yes, Whitestorm, Fireheart answered before resting his fin on his paws. He had to get some sleep. His clan needed him to be fit and ready to fight. The clouds that had covered the moon had rolled away by the next morning. Fireheart enjoyed the faint warmth of the sun on his back as he washed himself in the clearing. Cloudkit jumped out of the nursery entrance opposite him, looking bright and happy. Fireheart thanked StarClan that he had recovered so quickly. Sandpaw had been right about the kit's resilience. He looked around to see if Longtail and Dustpaw were there to see it too, but the clearing was empty. Fireheart crossed over to the nursery. "Hi, Cloudkit," he meowed. "Feeling better?" "Yep," squeaked Cloudkit. He spun around in a circle, grasping for his tail with tiny jaws. A small ball of moss that had been sticking to his fur fell off and rolled along the ground. Cloudkit leaped up on it and pawed it into the air. It bounced on the ground beside Fireheart. Fireheart knocked it back towards the kit, and Cloudkit sprang up to catch it in his teeth. "Well done!" Fireheart was impressed. With one paw, he scooped the moss ball high into the air, sending it flying across the clearing. Cloudkit raced after the moss and grabbed it. He rolled it onto his back, threw the ball up with his forepaws, and kicked it away with his hind legs. It landed next to the nursery. Cloudkit scrambled up and scooted after it. He crouched a rapid leap away, his hindquarters bunched in the air. Fireheart watched as the kit prepared to pounce. Suddenly, his fur prickled. A long, dark foreleg was reaching towards the moss ball from behind the nursery. "Cloudkit," Fireheart called. "Wait." Shadowy images of rogue cats were still fresh in his mind. Cloudkit sat up and looked around him, puzzled. Tiger Claw emerged from behind the kitten, holding the moss ball between his teeth. He carried the ball over to the kit and dropped it by Cloudkit's fluffy white paws. "Be careful," he growled. "You wouldn't want to lose such a precious plaything." As he spoke, Dark Warrior stared at Fireheart over Cloudkit's head. Fireheart shivered. What did Tiger Claw mean by that? He seemed to be talking about the moss ball, but did he really mean that Cloudkit was a plaything? An image of Cinderpaw flashed into Fireheart's mind. A wounded Huddle beside the Thunderpath. Was that another plaything he had lost? A cold feeling of dread came into his heart, as once more he wondered if the ThunderClan deputy was somehow responsible for his apprentice's accident. That was the end of chapter 24. We only have one chapter left this stream, which would be chapter 25. And then after that, we will be having the last 5 chapters next week. So hopefully we aren't left on such a cliffhanger this time. But we're gonna see. Chapter 25. Cloudkit. Fireheart heard Brindafay's call from inside the nursery. Tiger Claw turned and patted away. "Oh, hi, Holy." Cloudkit gave the moss ball a final shove and ran over to the nursery entrance. "Bye, Fireheart," he mewed before he disappeared inside. Fireheart looked up at the sky. It was almost sun-high. Time to join his patrol. He was hungry, but no fresh kill had been gathered yet. Perhaps he might find something while they are out. He hurried across the clearing and out through the gorse tunnel, frozen leaves crunching beneath his paws. Sandpaw and Mousefur were already waiting at the foot of the slope. Fireheart raised his tail in greeting, unexpectedly happy to see Sandpaw. "Hi," meowed Sandpaw. White Storm emerged from the gorse tunnel. "Is the Dawn Patrol back yet?" "No sign of them," answered Mousefur. But as she spoke, Fireheart heard a rustle of undergrowth above them. Out of the bushes came Willowpelt, Runningwind, Darkstripe, and Dustpaw. You've patrolled the entire RiverClan border. Philippelt reported. No sign of any hunting party so far. Bluestar's patrol will check the area again this afternoon. Good, replied Whitestorm. Take the ShadowClan border. Hopefully, they'll have the same good sense as RiverClan and stay away. Meowed Darkstripe. After last night, they must know we'll be looking out for them. I hope so, growled Whitestorm. He turned to his patrol. Are you ready? Fireheart nodded. Whitestorm flicked the tip of his tail and leaped away into the bracken. Fireheart followed Mouser and Whitestorm. He kept up a fast pace as they climbed out of the ravine. Sandpaw was right behind Fireheart. He could feel her warmth as she scrambled up the boulders. They had not even reached Snake Rocks when Fireheart picked up a sinister, familiar scent. He opened his mouth to warn the others, but Mouser spoke first. ShadowClan. 4 cats stopped to pick up the smell for themselves. I can't believe they've come back already, Sandpaw murmured. Fireheart noticed the fur quiver along her spine. The scent is recent. Whitestorm's eyes glittered with fury. I had hoped Nightstar might bring some honor to his clan, but I suppose the cold winds beyond the Thunderpath blow over every ShadowClan cat's heart. Fireheart turned away and began pushing his way into the thick patch of bracken. He rubbed his teeth along the fronds to pick up the scent that hung there. It was ShadowClan, all right. The smell was familiar. Very familiar. Fireheart paused. The scent belonged to the ShadowClan warrior he had encountered before. But which one? Fireheart pushed onwards, hoping more scent markings might jog his memory. Now he could smell something else. Fireheart looked down. On the ground, among the bracken stems, lay a pile of rabbit bones. Clan cats normally buried the bones of their prey as a sign of respect for the life they had taken. Suddenly aware of what this might mean, Fireheart picked up a mouthful and wolfed back through the bracken. He dropped them at Whitestorm's paws. Whitestorm stared at the bones in fury. Rabbit bones? The warriors who left these want us to know they've been hunting on our land. Bluestar must know about this immediately. Will she send a battle party against ShadowClan? Asked Fireheart. He had never seen Whitestorm so angry. He should, hissed the great warrior. And I'll lead it myself if I can. Nightstar has betrayed our trust, and StarClan knows he must be punished. Bluestar. Whitestorm flung the rabbit bones down in the middle of the camp clearing. Bluestar has already left on patrol, Tigerclaw told him, stepping out from the shadows. Halftail and Frostfur came hurrying from their dens to find out what was going on. Whitestorm stared at Tigerclaw, still furious. Look at these, he spat. Tigerclaw didn't need to be told what they meant. Their scent carried the whole story. His eyes began to burn with anger. Fireheart hung back at the edge of the clearing and watched the 2 great warriors. Evidence was certainly ominous, but the discovery of the bones had filled his mind with questions, not anger. It was only 3 moons since ShadowClan had driven out their cruel leader, with the help of ThunderClan. How could that same clan possibly be ready to risk war with ThunderClan? Tigerclaw clearly had no such doubts. Already he was calling Darkstripe and Runningwind to him. Philippelt and Mouseful were to join us too, he announced. We'll find a ShadowClan patrol and leave them with some wounds that'll remind them to keep out of our territory in the future. Whitestorm nodded. Can I come? Sandpaw meowed. He had been pacing excitedly behind the white warrior. Now she stopped and looked at him with glittering eyes. Not this time, Whitestorm told her. Frustration flickered across her face. What about Fireheart? She meowed. He found the bones. Tigerclaw narrowed his eyes, his hackles raised. Fireheart can stay here and tell Bluestar when she arrives. He hissed contemptuously. You're going to leave before she gets back? Fireheart asked. Of course, Tigerclaw spat. This needs to be settled now. He turned to Whitestorm and flicked his tail. Fireheart watched as the two warriors charged out of the camp. Darkstripe, Willowpelt, Runningwind, and Mousefur close behind. They could hear their paws pounding the frozen earth as they headed for the side of the ravine. Fireheart was suddenly aware how empty the camp was. As Frostfur and Halftail came forward and began sniffing the rabbit bones, he meowed. Who went with Bluestar? Frostfur looked up. Graystripe, Longtail, and Swiftpaw. The cold wind ruffled Fireheart's fur. He hoped that was what made him shiver. He was the only warrior left in camp. We had checked the apprentice's den to see if Despaw's there. Fireheart asked Sandpaw. He nodded, bounded across the clearing, and poked her head into the den. He's there, she called back, ducking out again, asleep with Dragonpaw. Yellowfang came padding out of her den and lifted her head. Fireheart relaxed a little at the familiar sight of the old medicine cat. He narrowed his eyes, ready to greet her. But as Yellowfang tasted the air, her eyes clouded with fear. With slow, stiff steps, he approached the rabbit bones and carefully sniffed each one. Fireheart watched her, wondering why she was so interested in the old bones. At last, she looked up and stared into Fireheart's eyes. Broken Star, she rasped, and her voice choked with horror. Broken Star? Fireheart echoed. Then it hit him. That's why the scent in the bracken had been so familiar. It was Broken Star's scent. Are you sure? He meowed urgently. Tigerclaw had us already left for ShadowClan territory. ShadowClan isn't to blame for this, cried Yellowfang. This is Broken Star and his old warrior friends. I was ShadowClan's medicine cat. I was there at their kidding. I know their scents as well as I know my own. She paused. We must find Tigerclaw and stop him. He'll be making a terrible mistake if he attacks them. The blood roared in Fireheart's ears, making him dizzy. What should he do? I'm the only warrior left, he meowed, breathlessly to Yellowfang. What if Broken Star attacks the camp while I'm gone? He's done it before. He might have left the bones as a trap so that our camp is left unguarded. We must tell Tigerclaw before he... Yellowfang pleaded, but Fireheart shook his head. I can't leave you all alone. And I should go, Yellowfang hissed. No, I'll go, meowed Sandpaw. Fireheart looked from one cat to the other. He couldn't afford to send either. The strength and training were needed here to protect the clan. But Yellowfang was right. Innocent blood couldn't be shed. Broken Star was the invader here. ThunderClan had no quarrel with ShadowClan. He would have to send another cat. He closed his eyes and thought hard. The answer came in a moment. Brackenpaw, Fireheart hissed, opening his eyes wide. Called the apprentice's name out loud. The young cat pushed his way out of his den and padded across the clearing towards Fireheart. What is it? He asked, blinking the sleep from his eyes. I have an urgent mission for you, Fireheart told him. Brackenpaw shook himself and stood taller. Yes, Fireheart, he mewed. You must find Tigerclaw. He's taken a raiding party to attack a ShadowClan patrol. Stop him and tell him that it was Broken Star who has been invading our territory. Brackenpaw's eyes widened with alarm. Fireheart went on. You might have to cross the Thunder Path. I know you haven't been trained. Hey yo, why did you just redeem kitty ears? You can't redeem kitty ears on this model. Ugh. My god, Oli. What am I gonna do with you? I'm gonna have to. I have to refund that now. Give me a second, I'll refund it. And let's see. Not that. There it is. Quests. And he did kitty ears, so I have to go look for kitty ears. There it is. Reject. That should give you your points back. Always redeeming the wrong cosmetics. I know you are. Why? It doesn't work that way. I refunded the points. It's okay. I know you haven't been trained. Images of Cinderpaw's broken body flashed in Fireheart's mind, but he forced them away. He looked deep into Dragonpaw's eyes. Must find Tigerclaw, he repeated, where there would be another war between the clans for no reason. Dragonpaw nodded, his eyes calm and filled with purpose. I'll find him, the Tabby's apprentice promised. May StarClan go with you, Fireheart murmured, reaching forwards to touch Dragonpaw's flank with his nose. Dragonpaw turned and sprinted out through the gorse tunnel. Fireheart watched him go, struggling to keep calm. Cinderpaw, the Thunder Path. The images kept flashing back. Fireheart shook his head to clear it. There was no time to worry now. Broken Star was in ThunderClan territory. The camp had to prepare for an attack. What's happening? Vespa had emerged from the apprentice's den. Fireheart glanced at him, ran to the head of the clearing, and scrambled up on the high rock. The clearing seemed a long way below his trembling legs. He swallowed hard and began the customary call. Let all cats old enough to... But the words were taking too long. The camp is in danger. Come here now. He yowled urgently. Elders and queens rushed from their dens, followed by their kits. They looked bewildered when they saw Fireheart on top of the high rock. Cinderpaw limped out of the fern tunnel and looked up at Fireheart with a strong, bright gaze. When Fireheart saw her, the camp suddenly stopped swaying beneath him. What's going on? Demanded One Eye. I'm actually going to snooze this ad break that's trying to come up, because we're really close to the end here. What's going on? Demanded One Eye. Oldest ThunderClan cat. What do you think you're doing up there? Fireheart didn't hesitate. Broken Star is back. Maybe in ThunderClan territory right now. All our other warriors are out of camp. If Broken Star attacks, we must be ready. Kits and elders stay in the nursery. The rest of you must be ready to fight. A menacing yowl from the camp entrance cut short Fireheart's speech. A lean, dark brown tabby with matted fur and torn ears strode into the camp. His bristling tail was bent in the middle like a broken branch. Broken Star, Fireheart gasped, instinctively unsheathing his claws as every hair on his body stood on end. 4 mangy warriors prowled in behind their leader, their eyes glittering with hatred. "But you're the only warrior left," Broken Star hissed, his lips drawn back in a snarl. "This will be easier than I thought." And that's the end of chapter 25, and we are left on another cliffhanger. Damn. I tried to not end on a cliffhanger, but it gave us a cliffhanger again. Now I'm gonna have to wait until next week to see what happens. Anyway, thank you guys for showing up. And... Oh, you okay? Okay, I'll do that, okay. Nice character raid. Straight over to Husky. Okay, I'll do that, yeah. But, yeah. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you enjoyed this week's 5 chapters. Remember that ASMR is on Fridays only if you are new. So next Friday will be the last remaining 5 chapters of Book 2. And we will see what happened on this being left off. If you come here on any other day, you're going to probably note that I am using a different voice and a different model, and it is going to be a lot more chaotic. But again, thank you guys for being here, and I will go ahead and see you guys later. Abisuki, out.